Hi, I'm going to show you how to make this very cute Paddington Bear model. Now I'm using Sugarpaste, but you could use a modelling paste if you want something that's going to set much firmer. So I've got all my different colours that I need for Paddington Bear, and I'm going to start with Paddington's body. You can see I've done a cone shape there. So then we're going to make his legs. So if you roll a sausage shape, you want his legs to be quite chunky, and then cut them at a slight angle, and then some edible glue. You can stick them either side of his body. Now with this tool, this is a shell and blade tool. I'm just going to mark some fur prints in his legs. Don't worry about the body, that's going to be covered up with a coat. If you don't have one of these, you can use a cocktail stick. And then 2 feet. Just roll 2 balls, roughly the same size. Push them down a little bit and stick them on the end of his legs. And then mark some fur, and I've marked 3 marks at the top for his paws. And then with an edible pen, just draw a line in the middle. Let's try the other end. So with a darker brown colour, roll this out, and with a small circle cutter, stick that onto the end of his foot. Now we're going to do his coat. So I've got this lovely blue colour. So give it a knead. And then we're going to roll this into a long shape. And then just cut one side away. Let's have a little look. So that's quite long. And just cut the sides off. You sort of have to guess. Just keep putting it on and trying it for size. So I'm just going to cut a bit more away from the top there. Now it doesn't matter if Paddington's coat is slightly open and he has his little belly sticking out at the front. That looks about right. So I'm going to put some glue straight onto his body and then wrap his nice warm coat around him. Like that. And then we're going to make some pockets. So with the spare bit of sugar paste that you've got, let's cut 2 squares. There we go. Now to give the feel of stitching, this is a quilting tool. So if you just run that along If you don't have a quilting tool, just use the end of a cocktail stick and mark little holes. And we're going to stick those on, some edible glue. Nice big chunky pockets. And then have we got some more? Now we're going to cut some little bits out for the coat, the front of the coat, his duffel coat. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 bits like that. And then with the quilting tool, just run 2 little stitch marks either side. And then we'll stick those on. I think the last one not going to quite reach. We'll hang that there like that. And then to do the buttons, just roll tiny sausage shapes. Looks a bit big. And then glue those into place. And the other button I'll pop over here. There we go. And then I'm going to do a collar around the top. I've got a little bit of sugar paste left here. Looks about right. So just cut 2 triangle bits. Just neaten that bit off. And then pop some edible glue all the way around the top. And there's his collar. Now this is all going to be hidden once you get the head in place. So for his arms, let's get the rest of the blue. That looks about enough. So we're going to roll his arms out of the blue. So we're going to roll it into a sausage shape. Okay. A little bit thinner than his legs. And then cut on the diagonal again, like that. Want them roughly the same size each side, and then just hold it up. They look a little bit thick, so I'm just going to roll them a little bit thinner. Let's just cut a diagonal. That looks a bit better. So some glue on the top part, and then bend it round, and the same on the other side. Just pop it slightly under the collar. There we go. So if we make the sandwich that he's holding, his marmalade sandwich, so I've got some light brown and I've got a nice orange for the marmalade jam. So roll them both out. And let's use a slightly bigger cutter. So we're going to need 2 of the brown. And 1 of the orange, and then glue these together. That's the quickest sandwich I've ever made. There we go. And then use a smaller cutter, and we're just going to take a few bites out of our sandwich there. And that's ready for Paddington to hold. So now we're going to do his hands. So we need some more of the brown sugar paste that we started with. Let's give that a little knead. So roll 2 balls, roughly the same size, and then just squash them down. Got some nice thick paddy paws there, and then with your tool just give him some fur marks, and then we can stick those onto the ends of his arms. And then the other one, just bend it round slightly like that. Some glue in the middle, and there is his sandwich. And I think I've just knocked, let's just pop that back on. There we go. And there is Paddington's sandwich. Okay, now I've pre-made a little label that's on the side of his arm that I can write on with an edible pen, and I've just cut this out from some white sugar paste. It's best to let that dry a little bit, and then it's easier to write on. I've done a triangle shape like that. And just mark a little hole for the tag, like that. And then using your quilting tool, go all the way round. Like that. And I'm just going to leave that to dry. Okay, so moving on to his head. Now I've rolled a ball of sugar paste here, so if you just hold it to his head, you can see whether you think that's the right size for him before you start. And then you need to do all the markings. So I tend to think his nose is going to be at the front, so I tend to do all my markings round in a circle like that to begin with, and then work my way down the back of the head. And then he needs a nose. He has quite a prominent little nose in the front of his head. So I'm going to start with a ball and just put it on the front. That looks about right, so I'm going to glue that straight on. Then just give that some markings as well. Now I've got this. This is a scallop tool, and it looks like a smiley mouth. So you could use a straw if you don't have one of those. Let's give him a little black nose. He's coming to life now. And 2 eyes. Try and get these the same size. They look about right. So I'm going to glue those on here. You want them quite close together, like that. And then for his hat, we've got some red sugar paste. Let's give that a knead. There's a nice big floppy hat. So take some off, and that can be for the brim around the hat. Then roll this into a ball, and then into a slightly longer shape. So you want it thinner on each side. And then what I do is try to pinch or push in the middle where his head is going to sit. Looks funny until you get the brim on. It does look quite funny. I'm just going to take a little bit off of that. Looks a bit large. Okay. That looks better. So stick that down. And then we're going to roll this last bit of red sugar paste into a long strip. So roll it into a long sausage to begin with. Oh. That should be long enough. And then we'll just, oopsie, cut both sides. You want it to be quite thick for the brim of the hat. Now I won't cut the edges until I've actually put it around. So just put a little bit of glue all the way around the base of his hat. You want the join to be at the back of the hat. So I would start at the back of the hat first. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim at the back there. Now, just pinch the edges and pull it out slightly. Okay, now we're ready to put our head on top of the body. Now if you were travelling this and you didn't want the head to wiggle around, you could insert some edible spaghetti into the body to put the head on, and that just helps to hold it in place. So a little bit of glue. And we're just going to pop him on top. There we go. And the last little thing is our tag. Let's have that one. So this is an edible black pen. You can write whatever you want, whatever message you want to write. It's got a thick end, this one, and a thin end. So let's go with the thin one. And there he is, Paddington Bear.